All right, everybody, I am here with Maia. There she is. And we are going to work on something kind of interesting. I think she's going to have trouble with it. I have not tested this, and surprisingly, I actually do very little tarp training anymore, outside of sort of concentrating on playing with things that I think horses will be afraid of. But we've actually not spent a lot of time doing that with her. Her work has primarily been more about touch and more touch and touch here and touch there and feet and a little bit of groundwork. But something that really clued me in, oh, there's mosquitoes around here. Something that really clued me in is I actually have a little bit of bark mulch underneath a tarp, and we walked by it and she seemed rather worried. So I thought, well, let's see if there's any issues with tarps. And this isn't a whole folded up tarp, and she doesn't have any problems with it. No different than she doesn't really have any problems with putting on a saddle or a blanket or a rain sheet or something like that. She says, yeah, no problemo. But with it on the ground, she appeared to struggle. So we're going to talk a little bit about tarps today, and whether or not I'm going to let this loose a little so she can back up if she chooses to. Let's go ahead and open this sucker up. A little bit noisy. Okay. It's really important to be able to let your horse leave if they want to. I've got a decently long lead rope here, so it allows her to go away. It's a brand new tarp, so it's still kind of folded up. Otherwise, it would come apart really easy. To be honest, she's doing a little bit better than I expected. Okay, fantastic. Now, she's snorting a little bit. She's making a little bit of noise. She's quite curious. If I step on it and move it, she gets a little worried. Now, it's time to talk a little bit of why we do tarp training and things to think about when you're doing tarp training. Everything I'm doing right now is actually purposeful. I have real purpose to the things that I'm doing. I'm not just randomly sort of going about doing whatever. I'm specifically kind of looking at it and going around each corner. Now, one of the things to think about is try not to do this on a windy day. I think if you've got a horse that is a little bit more worried about tarps, well then, when it flies up into the air, it really gets them worried. Now, the other thing to think about, generally, Yowzers. Wildies, eh? It is incredible. I don't know if she's had any of this done with her before. I think not. Is this video going to be shorter than the last one I did? Remember Little Miss? I did her, and yeah, just no problems at all. Okay, so she stomped onto this thing like no tomorrow. So let's take her off. Why But you just make all the domestic horses look like fools. You know that? Would you look at me while I'm talking to you? Do you realize how cool you are? It's crazy. Okay. All right. So now we have a different horse. Well, we have the same horse. What am I talking about? It's the same horse. We got a different acting horse. So she can step on it. She can stand around kind of on it if there's no extra things going on, which is why I kind of mentioned don't do this when it's windy, because when this thing picks up, horses freak out. So now that she's had an opportunity to see that it doesn't just lay flat, right? So when I come around and I'm stepping on it and I'm going corner to corner and I'm touching it, I'm coming over here and I'm sort of bringing it out flat. We want to start flat. If you're going to work with your horse with a tarp, work flat. So let's see if she comes on now. I bet she does. Yeah, no problemo. Now, I want you to think about a couple of things really quickly. Is you never kind of want to be directly in front of your horse when you're having them on a tarp, especially if there's any wind. If something picks up there, she's going to come up here so fast, it would be crazy. So I'm always going to be kind of ready to be big, because she'll avoid big. I know she'll avoid big because I've asked her to avoid big every opportunity I get big. Little Annie's running around. What's she running around for? What do you mean you don't know? I don't know either. So we want to be really cautious and we want to pay attention and all that stuff, because if something happens, horse moves, very fast, very big, it can be quite painful. So not doing anything, not having this move, not asking her to do anything is a recipe for some success, it looks like. No problemo. So I'm going to come across, and generally if you're going to have a horse that is a little bit afraid of a tarp, you can kind of be on the other side of the tarp until they make it on the tarp, and then they'll want to jet across the tarp. You see? Now she's twisting in a little bit with her hooves. It's getting a little bunched up. Okay, so it'll get some wrinkles and stuff in, and it'll start to move, and sometimes it'll actually kind of stick to their hoof as they're going around. Now she's on the tarp, that's fantastic. I'm gonna ask her to go off the tarp, so I'm just gonna do some basic driving, if she cares. I'm gonna swing that a little. And it's unfortunate, I don't want to have to swing my rope. I've heard, we've talked about that kind of stuff. What I'd like to be able to do is just ask her to go, and this would be enough drive or direction to kind of give her. And I might just kind of say, well, you know, I really need you to go. And I'm going to drive her onto the tarp rather than lead her. And this would be your second step. Now she's kind of graduating along quite nicely on here. And when you're driving, it's a great idea to be on the tarp yourself. And a lot of times they'll avoid going on the tarp. You'll have to actually kind of draw them onto it as you're going around in your basic groundwork circle. So I'm going to have her go the other way. Thank you. Keep going, please. Come across. Come on. I mean it. Yes, please. So basic groundwork, basic. We want to ask for stuff and not have a lot of trouble throughout the process. So essentially we're practicing the idea that we're riding from the ground a little bit. I'm gonna ask for a little bit more. I raise my hand up. That should be plenty. I shouldn't be swinging my rope around much. Now, I'm going to introduce a different tool just in case you're not very handy with your rope or your rope is a really short one. I like a nice long lead. I think mine's 12 feet. I think, maybe, yeah, but some are shorter, 8 to 10 or something like that. So you can definitely use a flag. Now a flag is not to sort of induce fear and keep it, if you put fear in, make sure to take it back out. But is to kind of just indicate I need some forward movement to give a little action. So a little noise, little energy. Okay, so I'm leading right now because I'm walking backwards. Now I want forward. So I'll just lift this up. I'll just lift. And that'll provide that direction. So if you feel like you need to keep your horse a little distance, you could kind of bump and touch and stuff like that if you want to. There's nothing going on here. This is quite light. But if you feel like you need a little distance from your horse and you don't want to use your rope and swing that around, you could have a flag and you could touch. So I'll have her keep going. See, every time I touch her with this, she stops. It's because she's worried. It's funny too, because we've worked quite a bit on this. Come on, silly. So what that could indicate is that she can't handle the tarp and the flag on her. Because we've done plenty of this. She should just keep going. And we could go along just nicely. So I'm going to come off the tarp and ask her to go on. With the flag, see now she's had a little stop. She's snorting a little. So I'm just going to provide a little bit of energy. Up, down, up, down. That's good. Touch. Fantastic. Okay, draw. Draw. Don't forget to draw during your groundwork. A lot of people get pretty concerned about making sure to do lots of drive, but there's plenty of great reasons to draw in between there and just say, can you please come with me? And everything will be, you are such an amazing horse. Just an amazing horse. I don't know what to do with you. Okay, so I would sort that out both sides. So let's just organize our rope. I'm going to send her that way. I'm going to send her to her left, my right. Say, let's go. Thanks. Yeah, I know it's a big deal. Let's go. There we go. Okay, so I don't want to leave that in there, so I'm going to touch. And she stopped, so I'm going to send her, touch, send her, touch, send her, touch. And we'll go together a little. Okay, so we don't want to leave that in there. Draw, draw. Have her come with you now. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's not bad. I wouldn't say I'm finished there. I definitely work on this a little bit more, but those are the things that I would think about. Some of your safety spots, if the horse is not on the tarp, you could be on the tarp. Okay, if they're on the tarp, try not to be directly in front of them in case they want to jet forward if that thing catches on one of their back feet or something like that. Happen to have an older tarp, it might have a few holes in it. Sometimes those things can get stuck. Okay, off. Off. I told you twice. Let's go. Thank you. All right. So I don't want her on there. I'm not interested in using my flag anymore. I'm great with my rope. But that's just another technique that you can try. Now, oh yeah, you're a big horse. Okay, so the next thing I want to check out is how she feels about it lifting up. Okay, now I can tell this is not a good scene. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wander from you guys a little and you can watch her reaction. And a thing to think about is she wants to escape it. So what we never want to do at this point, now that we've kind of put a little bit of fear in her, is we don't want to have her be here because that's trouble now. Now it's all bunched up. Actually, let's bring her into the tarp while it's bunched up a little. Okay, so I'm going to have a lot of space and ask her to come check it out. I'm not holding with much. I just got a few pounds. Just have a few pounds on here. So now she's got to check it out. So you see when it's flat, it's no problemo. But when it's big like this, okay? So space will be your friend, okay? And then the other thing, if you don't feel like space is going to cut it, you can bring in a barrel as well and say, can you please draw across that tarp? She says, no way, Jose, it's freaking me out. Now I don't need the barrel, I'm okay. But if you wanted to use a barrel to sort of make a little bit of a barrier, because it's kind of scary business, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna have her draw across and I'm gonna be ready to move. See how much she avoids it now. But instead of driving her, because driving's hard, we'll draw her. Okay, and I'll be ready to be big. Be ready to be big and say, no, don't come to me too much. I know you're worried. I can see it in your eyeballs. Okay, lots of reassurance. You just say, you're good. So I've avoided going on. So there, you see how she got a little worried? She'll want to jet forward a little. Pet her, tell her she's a big girl. Okay, now what we can do also is I can step on it, you know, and she might think, oh, well, if he step on it, maybe, right? But you can also kind of freak them out with the noise. So I'm gonna draw. Now I've got my barrel. She says, no problem. That's good. Okay, one more time. And this will give us something that we'll be sort of set up with. Good. Okay, so if things go really south, I can lay this on the ground and say, please come step on it. So with your rope not tightly wound around your hand, ready to let go, we're going to get a little noisier. Okay, now the goal here isn't to have them lose their mind. The goal is definitely to get them worried. We want them a little bit worried so we can say, look, you gotta manage this and I'm gonna be with you. Touch, back, touch, back, and have her follow, have her draw into, have your horse, her being Maia, draw towards the trouble, draw towards the thing that's worrying her. So we're gonna take a walk. Come on. And I'm gonna let it get a little closer to her. I want her to step on it. She's stuck, so I stop. I just hold. There we go. Now I'll walk. Okay. And she'll avoid it. I mean, as far as my experience has shown, a horse will avoid stepping on the tarp for as long as possible. Come on, Maia, a little closer to me. Yeah, she's thinking about it. She's getting close. I will hold. She's kind of stuck. She says, I don't know about this business. It's freaking me out. But the point of doing this is also to teach them to draw with you. There we go. And I'm not holding with much. I'm not yanking on her like she's got to come with me or else. You know, it's just 5 pounds of pressure. I just hold. I just hold and wait. She'll come. Come on. It's really not a lot of, oh, there we go. Okay, and then I might even let that go. Be like, you gotta make it onto the tarp. Okay, and I've got lots of space. Space is your friend. So now she's not stepping on it nearly as easy. So just wait. You gotta draw to me through. And if she chose to go around the tarp, I might kind of be like, all right, let's try it again after that though. But at least she'll come towards me. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so she's avoided with her back feet. She's worried. Hello, big girl. Yes, you did very well. You're a very, very big horse. Yes, I know. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, let's try again, okay? Now, this is not the safest position to be in because the tarp is sort of sideways to her. She'll want to have it in front of her. You see how she's changed positions? Okay. Let's go again. Come along, big girl. Let's go. 5 pounds of pressure, just holding. She's going to come with me. Oh, she stepped on it. Lovely. Okay. So she had a little step on that. I'm just going to say, thanks for stepping on my tarp. Try again. Oh, there we go. There she stepped on it again. Okay. So come up and say, I really appreciate that. You're a big horse. Thank you. Okay. Oh, look, she drew to me before I have to ask her. Still not good with it being sideways to her, and she's leaving. So I'm going to bring the tarp over this way more. Draw. Draw. Get her to step on that. Fantastic. Good girl. 2 eyes, 2 ears. Mostly. Thanks. Yeah, you're a big girl. Okay. Touch. Good. Draw. There we go. Okay, again. I'm just going to pull until she gets off. There. There. And you might say, well, that's confusing. Didn't you just try to teach her to put her foot on it? I did. But it's okay to teach a second thing as well. And then we go back to this. All right, oh, she's avoiding. I'm gonna switch hands, bring this over, change my angle. You sneaky, sneaky. Okay, so then we come up this way and draw. She's got it. All right, so that's good. So we'll say that she's a big girl. And it's tedious. It takes time. But what we're teaching is not necessarily just about tarps, even though it is a lot of tarps. So I'm going to cut her off there. Okay. But we're teaching her that to come along. That was quick. Good girl. Yes, you got that right away this time. Very good. We're teaching her to come along despite trouble, or what she perceives as trouble. So that's better. I'm going a little distance here. I'm going to let her have that sniff and then come along. Look at her avoid. Pretty sneaky. It's not going to work though. There you go. Oh, you're a big girl. Okay, come all the way across, please. Thank you. Okay, we make some space between us and the horse. Okay. There we go. Okay, it's a little bigger. Okay, she's leaving. I don't want her to leave. So we draw. Bam. All 4 feet. It's fantastic. So we teach you a whole pile of things. One, don't worry about tarps. Tarps are just tarps. You get to step on them, follow them. Teaching a horse to kind of follow some trouble or follow the problem is very beneficial for them psychologically. We're part of it. We stay a part of it, a big part of it. We always check in, say, hey, you're okay. Don't do this on a windy day. If it was windy right now, I wouldn't be this close. I'd be worried that that tarp was going to get up and blow, and she'd still be worried about it. She's got an eye on it a little bit, an ear on it a little bit. Have her check in. So it's a good thing. So we teach them to stay tuned into us a little bit. We provide lots of reassurance. Say, you're a big girl, very good job. And try to keep it low intensity if you can. Now sometimes they'll get really south. They'll be all over the place and stuff like that. In such a case, just do less. But always provide a lot of reassurance. Just let them know it's okay, everything's fine. You stay calm. If you feel like you need distance and you're not that good with your rope, or your rope's too short, then you can use a flag. Touch, 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 touch. You see, Maia doesn't care about flags. She's quite good with them right now, especially when there's no tarp. So keep in mind, last thing I'll say is when you're adding a pressure or some kind of thing, even just a touch of your hand, that is something. When you have a tarp, that is an additional thing. If this starts to fail, you know that the tarp bothers them. If you do this and it doesn't do anything, or if you touch them like I was showing you, if I touch her with the flag, oh, I know, it's no big deal. If you touch her with the flag and she stops walking, then you know you've got a problem. Get it, bite it, teach it a lesson. All right, don't bite it that much. Anyhow, so have fun with it. Mostly try to have fun, try to be lighthearted about it, try to just have them, I don't know if you can make it kind of be a little bit of a game of some sorts, but really have it just be like, look, there's nothing going on here. Everything's fine. You're okay. And horses are very observant. They're very smart. Even though our words may or may not, probably don't mean a single thing to them, but the intention behind them really matters. So hopefully that's been interesting, and we're going to continue working on this a little bit more, and then you'll be free again. I know we teach you all kinds of stuff all the time. Yes. Sometimes it's a good idea to double check and see if you've got a tight-lipped horse. Rawr. See if she'll let me. And this also is a bit of a litmus test. If you don't know what litmus paper is, it's important to learn that. but I'll sort of check that out. I'll be like, how tense are you? Can I touch your mouth like I can in normal circumstances? So, okay, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.